How are you? Chris Valenti, your perfect and humble leader. If you watched my last video, the last Valenti Vod, then you know that there's been this whistleblower at the NLRB who claims that Doge is accessing extremely sensitive security information and that there's an IP address in Russia that is gathering this information. Well, it seems like because this whistleblower got like something taped to his door with drone images of him walking his dog, which is clearly a threat, he's decided that for his own safety, it would be best to fucking get in the spotlight and get people to know who he is. And we've got an interview with PBS NewsHour. The NLRB whistleblower claims Musk's Doge potentially caused significant security breach. It's an 8.5-minute long interview. We're going to watch the entire thing. You probably see the chat rolling up there. That's because we make these videos live. Everybody in the chat say hi. Hi! If you want to make sure that you are here the next time we go live, just make sure you hit that notification bell and you'll be notified every time we go live. Other than that, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me out a lot and it costs you absolutely fucking nothing. So do that. And if you do want to help me out financially, because this is real independent media, I have no funding. I've never had a conversation with an advertiser or a billionaire or a government. If you do want to help me out financially, there's a handful of ways you could do it. You could become a patron on Patreon for $5. Big shout out to my patrons. You could become a member here on YouTube for $5. Big shout out to my members. You could buy some dope ass Valenti Videos merch right down below, and you could use that 40% off discount code for the Vantage subscription on Ground News to help you parse through all that bullshit. So, without further ado, we're going to dive right into this. We're going to watch this interview. If you haven't watched my last Valenti Vod that is reading the NPR article about the whistleblower, go check that out. You don't need to do it first or anything, but we're going to read just the very beginning of this article, and then we're going to watch the fucking video, all right? So, read the full... Oh, excuse me... Oh, okay. So it isn't an article. It's just straight up a video. So fuck the article.
Since President Trump re-entered the Oval Office, billionaire
free content
Elon Musk and his Doge team have been sweeping through federal agencies, accessing sensitive data as part of the effort to scale back the size of government. We're getting new information about the scope of that access at one independent federal agency, that's the National Labor Relations Board, which protects workers' rights to organize and investigates unfair labor practices.
Now, real quick, I just want to say, in case there's MAGA people in the chat, like, dude, this is your organization at the NLRB. And when I mean yours, I don't mean like this belongs to the right. I mean like this belongs to the workers. This belongs to the blue-collar workers, the working class. This is about your right to fucking unionize and fight for your right to work. This is about you getting the right thing. This has nothing to do with liberals or conservatism. At the end of the day, the unions are for you, the workers. It's not about politics, but seemingly the conservatives are attacking the unions.
A whistleblower complaint filed by an IT staffer at the NLRB claims that Doge gained access to closely guarded data, including case files, and that could have led directly to a, quote, significant cybersecurity breach. That whistleblower, Daniel Baroulis, joins me now along with his lawyer,
Brother, the beard. Come on.
Andrew Buckeye.
Not
Welcome
him.
to you both.
Brother, the beard. Fix
Thanks
it.
for
Come
being
on.
here.
Thank you for having us.
So Daniel,
like you,
let's
though.
just
You're
start
brave.
with you. You
You're my
had
hero.
been at the agency for about under a year or so. It was about early March when the Doge team arrived at the headquarters. When and how did you notice that something wasn't right? Something was going on?
Sure. I was doing metrics review, kind of looking around, trying to do optimization of our own, because we're always trying to save money. And we were identifying different things, and we noticed something that was off. Me and a couple of different people noticed different points, but it kind of added up to a bigger picture. They're called indicators of compromise in the private sector. And so when I noticed these indicators, red flags went off in my head, and I said, something's up here. So I investigated farther at that point.
And what did you find as you investigated further? What was happening to the data that you saw?
Sure. At first, I didn't have a good picture, so I started to try to rule out possibilities of what benign could have caused these large exfiltration of data, could cause these large spikes of internal transfers.
Exfiltration of data, to be clear,
Sure.
You saw a large amount of data being moved out of the NLRB system.
Guys, I don't know if you remember this. I covered it a couple of months back, but pretty early on into the Trump regime, the Doge team started to access the U.S. Treasury and download information onto a private server. And then a federal judge ruled and ordered Doge to destroy those private servers, to delete all of the information that they had illegally stolen. And DOGE told that federal judge to go fuck themselves. And recently, as we saw, the Supreme Court ruled 9-0 for the Trump regime to bring back Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and they just said, go fuck yourself. So we are reaching a point where there is no body, there's nothing left, no ruling body to rein in the Fuhrer. He is like a bull in a china shop. It's fucked.
Is that right?
That's correct. Leaving a network interface that faces towards the public internet, something that would only occur if you were to transfer a file outside of our secure system.
And that caught your attention. Why? I'm assuming that kind of thing doesn't usually happen?
It was very abnormal. There's a 200 or 300% increase in that time period as to what normal baseline is. So that's definitely unusual and warranted more investigation.
And in the affidavit, you say that you detected the removal of 10 gigabytes worth of data. Do you have any idea?
I understand we live in the gaming era, so people are like, 10 gigs isn't a lot, Call of Duty's 200. 10 gigabytes of data? Of just like numbers and Excel charts, like 10 gigabytes of pure data is an unfucking real amount of data. That's insane. That is fucking insane.
Yeah, what kind of data we're talking about? Why this would cause concern?
Sure. So what that data spike correlated with was data that was transferred off of an internal record-keeping device that was only used for internal case data. So this system only has the private information about union organizers,
union organizers. Oh my God, they're gonna round them up.
Privileged business proprietary technologies, competitors, those kind of things are in that system only. There's no other data, there's nothing else except that. So that correlated data spike lined up at the exact time window and the same amount. And so that's what we can determine was taken, was data out of that system particularly.
So Andrew, the White House responded to our request with a statement about this, and they said, quote, it's months old news that President Trump signed an executive order to hire DOGE employees at agencies and coordinate data sharing. Their highly qualified team has been extremely public and transparent in its efforts to eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse across the executive branch, including the NLRB.
Then why the fuck haven't you charged one single person with fraud? Why haven't you charged anybody with fraud? What's up, Valenti?
So, Andrew, they're arguing this is all part of their work that they're doing to cut waste, fraud, and abuse.
If the administration is taking the position that having data exfiltrated out of the United States government and potentially into other nation states, if that's about efficiency and effectiveness for the nation, it doesn't make any sense. Within 15 minutes of DOGE engineers creating accounts, usernames and passwords within internal systems within DOGE, within 15 minutes of the creation of those accounts, somebody or something from Russia tried to log in with all of the right credentials, meaning they had the right usernames and right passwords. And the question is, how do they get that and why?
Because DOGE gave it to them. Because fucking billionaires love billionaires. Russia is controlled by oligarchs. Elon Musk is the biggest oligarch in the history of humankind. The Trump regime is trying to create an oligarchy. Oligarchies protect oligarchs. These are the globalists. These are the people that like fucking Alex Jones has been screaming about the whole time. It's these fucking technocrats and billionaires who believe that democracy does not work and that the people should not have a say and that the United States should be carved up into 7 different sections where each one is controlled by a different CEO. That's what they fucking believe.
The second question that I have is that why is it that from what Dan has seen, as well as others, because we have spoken to other individuals who are able to corroborate this, which is that some of the data is also using Starlink as a backdoor. And that's another way to get data.
Starlink is so easily hacked. And this doesn't surprise me, considering they've been using Starlink above the White House.
Of internal databases within agencies. And Starlink has now direct access where information is likely, and we believe is funneled directly into Russia.
So let me ask you, based on the evidence you've seen, do you have a view about why the DOGE team would have been accessing and exfiltrating, sending out all of this data?
That I don't know. I don't want to speculate as to the why, because there are so many questions that would, subsequent questions that would lead to.
Yeah.
But that certainly is the questions, why are they doing this? Now, part of it may be, there's a component where this could be intentional. There's also a component where this is simply sloppiness. I mean, another thing that we have seen within databases within the government, as Dan will be able to talk about, is that internal databases throughout the government have been opened to the open internet.
Yeah, that's the key. Is these are not just my agency. These are Department of Treasury. These are Department of Energy.
I'm glad this guy's saying it, because I was going to say this. This isn't just about like the NLRB. This is about the fact that this guy at the NLRB, he spotted something that was up. That means that these other agencies, the Treasury Department, I mean, the Department of Defense, they may not be seeing what this guy's seeing. Okay, it's not just going to be NLRB information being downloaded and sent to Russian servers. It's probably in every sector that DOGE has infiltrated. Anything that these DOGE groypers have gotten their grubby little paws on have probably had sensitive information sent over to these Russian assets. And again, I want to remind you, this guy may be the whistleblower, but this guy's a federal attorney. This guy went to law school. This guy passed the bar. This guy's had other clients. This guy's been in the field. This guy is a fucking attorney. They don't take cases like this unless they believe that it's real.
Defense. So these are the critical systems that those agencies use that basically turn on the porch light for other foreign nation states to come on in.
And I need to ask you as well, Daniel, because Mr. Musk's own companies have faced complaints at the NLRB. We know he brought just last year a case to federal court, basically arguing that the agency structure was unconstitutional, arguing it shouldn't exist in the first place.
Really quickly, I want to cover just one chatter. It was talking about the condoms to Gaza. Not only was that not true, but Elon Musk and Donald Trump admitted that wasn't true in the Oval Office on camera. We will cover that after this video is over, but that wasn't true. The first thing that they said was it was $50 million of condoms to Gaza. The second thing that they said was that it was $100 million of condoms to Gaza. The third thing that they said was that the condoms were being used as bombs to fight against Israel. And then finally, the Trump administration and Elon Musk admitted that these condoms were actually sent to Gaza in Africa, and they were used to help prevent the spread of HIV. Okay? That's what they were being used for. And it wasn't even $50 million. Regardless, let's keep on watching.
Is there any way of knowing if the DOGE team accessed any information related to cases about Elon Musk?
One of the frustrating things about this is there's been roadblocks introduced along the way. One of the things I don't have is access to that level of data. Those logs and records of what was accessed during that time are missing, and just coincidentally missing after the data spike incident. No other period of time is missing except that small window.
Missing from your view? Would you know if other people have access to that?
They were deleted entirely.
Holy shit.
You were able to confirm that?
Yes. I had another 8, yes, absolutely.
They were deleted entirely.
Another key point to your question is that, the data that was flying out of NLRB was case-related data. It was their internal case management system.
Real quick, chat. Lay off the guy for a second. There are some people who can be changed, and you don't want to scare them off by being too aggressive. Don't forget where you came from. I don't forget where I came from, and I've talked about this, and I'll talk about this to you guys who are watching pre-recorded. I used to be a fucking racist, anti-Semite, Islamophobic, xenophobic, transphobic, homophobic. I watched Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder and Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk, and I made my way out. You can make your way out. There's probably a lot of chatters here who have made their way out. Don't forget that a lot of these people are blinded by propaganda and a lack of education. We can help them. It's not everybody is your enemy. We can fix some of these people.
So given the fact that, an entire libraries or an entire encyclopedia worth of information has been flying out, is it plausible that that would include any of Elon Musk's corporate information? It's very possible.
These are all questions you still have that we don't have answers to.
We don't have answers to that.
Can I ask you, Dan, big picture, was it an easy decision to come forward, to say this publicly, to get a lawyer, to be a whistleblower? Why decide to do that?
It was never a question whether or not to do the right thing. That was always my agenda. But how I did it, or whether or not I did it, honestly, was absolutely a question. It's my safety. That's there's so much at play that I didn't realize too, but I'm standing behind it. I'm putting my name to it, and that's just who I am.
You mentioned your safety. Why do you mention that?
We had an incident. Go ahead.
This is a difficult topic for Tan to discuss, but prior to our filing the whistleblower disclosure this week, last week, somebody went to Dan's home and taped a threatening note, a menacing note on his door with personal information
While
within
he was
it.
at work, yeah.
While he was at work, and it also contained photographs of him walking his dog taken by a drone. So
This was on your
Question from MAGA in the chat, or William, or whatever. So this guy comes out and blows the whistle on D.O.G.E and says that this information is being sent to Russian computers, right? And then a threatening note with pictures of him is posted on his door. Do you find anything suspicious about that? Or are you so deep in the cult that you don't even give a fuck about that?
front door to your home.
Taped straight on, not inconspicuous, just right there in a white envelope.
you can't get any more direct threat than that.
Dan, you said this felt
So if you admit that that's fucked up, William, then you also must admit that D.O.G.E must clearly be doing something fucking sketchy.
like the right thing to do. What do you want to see happen next?
Just a full investigation. That's all I've wanted, is just somebody to come in and validate, tell me why I'm wrong. Just come in and say, this is because of this. And so far, I've been unable to find that. Looked throughout my agency, tried to go outside of my agency, and that was not successful. I just want somebody to look at the data, look at what's happened, find out. That's it.
Daniel Baroulas, Andrew Bakai, thank you to you both for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate you having us on.
All right, so, listen, you don't need to take it from me. I bring you the fucking information, okay? And then I tell you my opinion after. So you saw the information, here's my fucking opinion. D.O.G.E is not targeting waste, fraud, and abuse. If they had been targeting waste, fraud, and abuse, people would have been charged with fraud. If they had been targeting waste, fraud, and abuse, maybe they wouldn't be targeting Social Security, Medicaid, SNAP benefits, the CFPB, the fucking VA, okay? There is waste, fraud, and abuse in our government, and they're not targeting it. They're not. And now this whistleblower comes out and says, hey, I've seen information that points to the fact that this information is being sent over to Russia. And immediately a threatening note with pictures of him from a drone are posted on his front door. MAGA, if you don't see a problem with this, you are brain broken. You are in a cult. There's no saving you. You are no longer, you're no longer American. You're Trumpian. You can't reason anymore. If you don't see a problem with this, you're not capable of logic. You've lost all reason. Anyway, that's all I got for you. If you're watching this live, you stay, okay? If you're watching this pre-recorded on YouTube, I'm going to end the video here. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Costs you nothing, helps me immensely. And click that video on screen. I promise you it's a fucking banger. I'll catch you in the next one.